Carm Capriato, the Service Aftermarkets podcast pioneer with the gold standard of aftermarket business podcasts. Join me for Aftermarket Insights as we advance the aftermarket. And as always, know that you'll learn just one thing. Find us on your favorite podcast listening app and remarkableresults.biz or on my YouTube channel. Hey everybody, it's Carm Capriato. Welcome to Town Hall Academy, week 382. Can't believe I'm still doing this. Actually, I can. So glad to have you here. Appreciate your listenership, your support. Don't forget, we're also on our YouTube channel. That would be the Carm Capriato YouTube channel. I've got a great episode here. I'm going to teach you how to develop and create an independent networking group in your town. Well, I'm actually not going to teach you how to do that. My panel is. But before we get started, let's give a high five to our great sponsors. Hey, did you know that NAPA Tracks has on-site training plus 6 days a week support? Well, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice. Let us prove to you that Tracks is the single best shop management system in the business. NAPA Tracks, NAPATRACS.com. Hey, my great friends at AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching, Chris Cotton. Chris is going to help your shop go from surviving to thriving, from financial insights to operational excellence. Make your shop into a well-oiled machine at autoshopcoaching.com. And how about this? Ready to optimize your training with today's class? Well, in just 5 minutes daily, boost knowledge, retention, and improve team performance. Start seeing results today. Join your peers at todaysclass.com. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and thanks. Well, meet my panel. Here they are. Hi, everyone. These are all friends. They're all from the Buffalo area. I would say that this is a really close, tight-knit group. So happy to be part of their networking group. Jim Fleischman, Automotive Alley in Arcade in Marilla, New York. Hey, Jim.
Thanks, Carm.
Glad you're here, my friend. Yep. Tom Sciortino, Total Automotive, Buffalo, New York. Hey, Tom.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, and by the way, Jim and Tom are with me on the Erie Community College advisory board. That's always fun to have our monthly meetings with that. And Paul Henderson is here. He calls himself an IPASS facilitator. I'll explain what IPASS is, the Independent Professional Auto Service Group of Western New York. That's the name that this independent group gave it, because when Erie Community College has a career fair, the group from IPAS, the independent group, goes there, has a table, and hangs out and meets students and takes resumes. Can you believe that? And that was the beauty of having this organized independent group. And Paul also a customer service rep for NAPA.
Correct.
And what we want to start by explaining, how did the impetus of this whole thing start? And I will set the tone to a certain degree. Paul, you were with Jasper, and you started this to get some professional progressive shops together to talk business.
Yes. Yep. That was about 8 years ago. And Jasper had come to the reps at that time and said, we want you to start a roundtable. And at the time I was like, oh, okay. All right. How do I get this going? And basically my impetus was to go around and look for shops that were going to be what I like to term progressive shops. And by that, I just mean shops that didn't want to complain about the industry, but wanted to be progressive about the industry, wanted to either maybe change the industry in a positive way and be seen in a different light. And that was where I started, with about 10 to 12 shops that I knew would probably be receptive. And that was the original group. And we literally just met, pushed some tables together in the morning at a restaurant, and that's where it started.
Yeah, and Jasper was a sponsor of mine back in the day, and I think you reached out to me, and I came and I hung out with you guys. Of course, I learned a lot, and when you ultimately then left Jasper, Tom, you took over, I believe, the group, right?
Yep. Paul walked into my office one day and said, you know what, I got a new job, and I'm going to be moving on. So he dropped it in my lap, and we took it, I don't want to say in a different direction, but we just, rather than a a vendor sponsored event. We took it more to an owner sponsored event and kind of took it over from there.
Yeah. So here's the point. You do not have to do what Buffalo did by finding a vendor to do something like this, because the encouragement that this group has is networking is so critical. And you just need to find one shop owner, one or two shop owners that are willing to say, hey, we want to do this. Let's reach out to people in the industry. But one of the best ways to reach out to people in the industry is through vendors.
Well, the vendors were an important part of it when the owners, because Jasper had just been the only vendor that was sponsoring it at that point. So when we had our discussions, we brought it up, well, why don't we include the vendors into the operation, into the meetings? And it actually became very valuable. But with that, we just had, a couple of criterias we wanted from the vendors. And basically it was everybody leave their badges at the door, and you're there to better the industry, better the repair shops in the area, raise the bar a little bit, and not be a sales pitch to push your products. And I think that was key for all the members that belonged to the group at that time to allow that to happen.
And even, when Paul was running the meetings for Jasper, it was never about a sales pitch for Paul. He gave a couple minutes and said, "Hey, here's what's new," but he made it all about everybody there and making sure that we were starting good creative conversations that could help everybody. It's an awesome thing.
Just a sharing of ideas. I mean, between not only the vendors that are there, because they bring technical information, product information without the sales pitch, which is important. That's what Paul used to do. And then just the sharing of ideas. It could be anything from marketing to insurance to anything we do as business owners, sharing those ideas. We all do things differently, but yet we're all in the same business. So having those different sharing of ideas is useful.
I Not to cut you off, Carm, but one of the things I think was super powerful for this group was navigating through COVID. And navigating through COVID, we had our tire vendors, we had parts vendors, we had oil and lubricant vendors, we had all different vendors part of our organization, and just trying to procure parts from all different places. We didn't know what was coming. We couldn't get our hands on stuff. We were having problems with parts. These guys were super helpful for everybody in the group to help us navigate through some of those hiccups. And it was great to see, hey, we're not the only ones fighting this, because all the vendors are in these shops all over the region, all over the Western New York area. And then they're talking with vendors, and it was great to get the feedback. I mean, it was super helpful for everybody. Part of the group, I guess, to help bring that back to your shop and then spread it into your areas and talk to the other shop owners that you're with to let them know there's light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, if you want to say it like that.
That's a great point, Jim, because the vendors are members of the group. Tom, you collect dues from them, right?
Yeah, we collect dues from the vendors, or in lieu of the dues, they'll kick in for one of the breakfast meetings, and they'll cover one of the breakfast meetings. So it's an either or. We don't require them to pay, but they certainly do contribute financially to the group, which helps to get us through the year financially.
Yeah. To your point, when you go out and do career days, there's all kinds of vendor merch that's given away, which is really cool to see how they're willing to contribute stuff, door prizes and stuff.
And you know what? The vendors, we're not asking them to do anything.
Right.
They're more than willing to contribute, to participate, and help us out in any way they can. So, I mean, their backing is valuable to the organization to sustain it. Jim, you brought up a very good point about COVID. The organization, I think, thrived through COVID because we had our regular, I think we were even doing every 2 week meetings at the height of COVID to share information and get us through COVID, and how we were managing, our customers, our parts, our staff, and sickness and whatever happened. We were able to lean on each other through that time. We haven't touched on it yet, but through COVID, that's when our relationship with the community college, ECC, actually thrived and blossomed out of those meetings. We formed a really, really strong relationship with the college now.
Good alliance there. Look, one of the great things of this meeting, and I'm kind of wanting to jump forward a little bit just so that our listener gets engaged, because they're probably sitting back saying, so what do you do at these meetings? You always parading people in to sell us stuff? And the answer is no. And one of the reasons that it's so successful is because of Paul. And I'm not trying to, give you all kinds of big high five props, Paul, but Paul takes notes, sends them out to the group when it's all done. He'll take some of the great podcasts that we do each week. He'll put them out pre-meeting and says, hey, listen to these. And he'll probably take one of those key critical trends that's going on, make it a talking point. And after, say, we parade someone through who's got this cool, neat new idea, and they give them 15 minutes to talk to the group. But after that, it's, hey, let's talk as a group. And then one of the things that I think is great is we go around the table. Sometimes there's 25 people in the room, and you go around the table and everybody has a chance to speak to the topic. Some at depth, some really quick. I'm learning a lot. I don't have much to contribute, or this happened to me. And the vibrancy of the discussion, that, again, listen to learn just one thing. It's you're a perpetual student when you're in an IPAS meeting.
Hey, Paul.
100%.
Hey, Paul. Let's talk about your Burke assessment and all of the things. I want you to explain to everybody how your Burke assessment comes out, so we can clone you, so that we can have other Paul Hendersons throughout the country, just so everyone knows what it takes to be a Paul Henderson.
So I don't know if my wife would want more than one, but yeah.
No. We're taking all of those from her.
Right. There you go. So
she'll have to figure out who the original is.
Yeah, that's fair.
The things that you like to do are what's important, because I can say some people like doing the things that Paul's doing for this group, and some people don't. Some people want to contribute, and some want to do what Paul's doing. So that's a key thing, and Paul is amazing at it. So go ahead, Paul.
So I appreciate that. So real quick with the vendor topic is, the vendors, we're all in different shops all the time. And I think it was Jim who made the point, how often do you as a shop owner walk in to someone else's shop? Probably doesn't happen very often. Maybe you tow a car there or for some reason, but how often you actually go into someone's shop, look at how they do things with an open book? And that's one of the great things that we do at iPass too is, yeah, we do it in a restaurant, but also a few times a year, we actually hold the meetings at someone's shop. So you have 15 other eyes on your shop, and it's an open and transparent meeting. Tell us what's good, what's bad. The members aren't afraid to say, why do you have that over there? Why do you have your tire machine there?
Right.
Wouldn't it make more sense over here? And the point is, it's not criticism, it's constructive feedback. And so that's really the character of the group. And that's the type of shop I wanted to invite when we started this group, was open-minded guys who aren't going to be defensive, and girls who aren't going to be defensive, but rather, hey, tell me how I can do it better. How do you do this? What do you do for this? What do you use for alignments? How much do you charge for that? And it's a great group in the sense that we have people who call each other out. What do you mean you do that? Why in the world would you do that? And those have come up, and people, the other owners will explain why, and they're like, okay, that makes sense. But the point is, everyone in the room learns from that. And so you said, Carm, I don't remember what your original question was, but I do take notes at the meeting. So I'm a type A person, always will be. So there's an agenda that goes out. We try to stick to that agenda more or less. Throughout the month, I'm always looking for different topics that I feel could bring value or interest to the group, whether it's magazine articles, whether it's podcasts from you, whatever the topic is. And at every meeting, pretty much think I end it all the time and say, this is your meeting, guys. I'm here as a facilitator. Right. I'll put it together. You have a topic. You have someone you want to come in as a guest speaker, whatever it is, I'll arrange that. And it's to the point now where I have other members in the group who say, hey, how about this guy? He'd be a really good speaker. So we've had people come in to talk about insurance. We've had them talk about products. Energy company came in, cybersecurity came in. And these are all things that shop owners appreciate and don't necessarily always would have had that information had that not been there. What they do with that after the meeting, of course, is up to them, but we try to bring value to each meeting in that sense. And then the meeting notes go out with a roster. We have a roster that if you, well, hey, this guy talked at the meeting, how do I get a hold of him? Here's your roster. And you can go ahead and talk to that person.
I mean, some people feel comfortable to speak up, and some people don't. I mean, that's you don't have to say anything. You can show up. Paul, how many times we've had people sitting in there meeting after meeting after meeting, never said a word.
Right.
They're appreciative to come, they're appreciative to listen, they have an open mind, and they may go back and implement things. I think that's the coolest part, is when you stop in at somebody's shop and they made changes because of some of the conversations. They may have never opened their mouth in the meeting, but they're making the changes not because they're doing something wrong, because they think that they could do something better.
Hey, Apex 2024 registration is now open at aapexshow.com. Now, Apex has an incredible value for the service professional, shop owner, technician, and service advisor. Joe's Garage is your place to hang out with 10 working bays and real live working conditions. You'll find special seminars on Audi, VW, BMW, Mercedes, Tesla, under the hood diagnostics, advanced drivability, ADAS calibration, transmission training from ATRA, and more. Business and sales training on mastering organizational skills, time management, leading your team, and driving profits, among others. This year, the training courses are some of the best offered ever, with the industry's best and brightest trainers and coaches. This year's Apex 2024 will have more product demos, trending training, marketing and social media support to help you grow your career, sales, and profits. Remember, if you earn your living in the aftermarket, then Apex is the expo for you. Continue listening as we bring you the latest from Apex 2024, and save the date, November 5th through the 7th. Don't hesitate. Go to aapexshow.com. Hey, let's face it, your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing Trax to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, will be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NAPA Trax, that's NAPATRACS.com. In the world of auto repair, every shop has its unique rhythm and challenges. At AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching, they understand that one size does not fit all. That's why we offer personalized business coaching, tailoring our advice to meet your shop's specific needs. Transform your operations with strategies and tools to streamline your workflow, reduce waste, and skyrocket productivity. And when it comes to the numbers, we've got you covered. Our financial management guidance helps you master your finances from cash flow to profit margins, ensuring your revenue grows stronger. Every day, AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching, empowering your shop to achieve more. Visit us at autoshopcoaching.com. Hey, ever wonder how your labor rate compares to your market and state? You now have a site where you can confidentially upload your rate and see other labor rates published in your market. LaborRateTracker.com is an important site to know about. Currently, the database has over 1,000 shops participating and growing every day. But there's more to setting your rates than finding out what others charge. You should look at the labor rates in your state and town to gain a complete picture of the labor rate landscape. Hey, it's easy. Get market intelligence like never before at LaborRateTracker.com. Hey, guys, let's make an assessment on the learning and the change that's been going on amongst the members of the last couple of years, because I sense that feel. People are coming to the monthly meeting hungry for something new, hungry for affirmations on the things that they're doing, hungry to discover something brand new. We're having challenges and opportunities each and every day. There's a lot of side conversation that goes on, but it seems to me over the last 2 or 3 years, the positivity that's in the room. You would think that the attendance would be dwindling, and it's not.
No, one of the things when I started this whole, or criteria, I guess 8 years ago, is I don't want people to complain. I don't want them to bash the industry. I don't want them to say, "Oh, my customers, this,
Right.
that, my suppliers, that." Those are not the type of people I wanted to invite. And if those people did end up coming, maybe I did invite them with preface of, "Hey, we're not here to complain. We're not here to bash the industry. We are here, as you always say, all ships rise. So if you have an issue and a concern, which there always are, how do we solve it?" And that's one of the things, like Jim said, some people don't talk a lot, others do. But one of the things we do at almost every meeting is whatever topic's on the table, we go around the room and you're going to talk at least for a couple minutes and bring your point of view in. And it's the networking too. And one of the stories I like to share is, we've had shop owners in this meeting run other shop owners' shops when things have been needed. They have left their shop and gone and been an owner service writer to fill in for that week or whatever for the other guy. And these are shops, when we started this 8 years ago, you guys didn't know each other. You might have known of each other, but you didn't know Tom's phone number. Tom didn't know Jim. I mean, you guys are an hour apart. We have fleet shops that have 16 bays down to a guy with 2 bays. But what's the common denominator is you're all servicing customers. You're all making people happy every day. And that's what you do. Doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. It's working towards a common goal. That's kind of the, if you will, character of the group.
Let me go to you, Tom. Tom is, if you will, the leader of the group, and I don't mean that he has the gavel, but he actually is like the treasurer. He holds the dues money, pays the restaurant, and is the person who always starts the meeting and always brings an update from the college. Jim and I have, said, "Hey, Tom, you give the update to the college and what we can do." So a role like that is important. Yeah, Paul, you're the facilitator. I get that. But Tom being the lead person, an important job.
You know what? I think it's not so much being the leader, but I'm just the go-to person that people call when they have questions. And Paul and I have a great working relationship. We have kind of a little network. It's Paul, me, Jim, you, Carm. And we kind of, if anything, any issue, any discussion comes up, we usually start an email chain between the 3 or 4 of us and discuss things out. What's best for the group? What's best to move this along? What should we present to the group for an idea? So I think it's just that collaboration. And Carm, on your point, as far as the change in the group the last few years, we've got members now that have multi-shop operations. Jim, you being one of them. We have members that are in coaching now. I would have never thought of coaching 2 years ago. And with Jim pushing me along and Carm and that, I changed my view on it. And it's the best thing I ever did. We have shops that have remodeled. We have shops that have changed their software. So just that sharing of ideas is so important in the group. And Carm, I think you wanted to go here, and we can go here now. Is not a lot of stuff happens in the meeting. It happens after the meeting. It's shops, hanging out for an hour afterwards. Jim has a habit of going and visiting shops, after the meeting and taking the whole day off.
Well, everyone always wants to bust on me. Whose shop are you going to go bust in on today? And so my wife and I usually try to make a point to stop in. And some people don't take it the right way, and some people do. But I'm not there to direct anybody or bust on anyone. I just like, oh, that's a nice shop. I want to check that out. And 9 times out of 10, if you stop in, they'll open the door and you tell them who you are and you tell them who you're connected with, and they all know Paul or they know the vendors that we deal with. So it's just a little couple conversations, and then the doors open and they're pulling filing cabinets out and they're showing you how they put stuff away. And so I look forward to it. To me, it's an important part of networking and just letting people know that, hey, there's places to get help. We're in our own little pods, and in the industry, in the automotive industry, we all think because you're a business owner and you're in the automotive industry, you're by yourself. And to let these people know that, hey, there's an avenue.
And the funny thing too is the word has gotten out that we're doing what we're doing, because I get questions from other shops. Hey, what's with that organization you're part of? And so it becomes the whole, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I should find out. And you know what? We weed out the people that are serious by the time that we meet at 6:15 a.m. on a Thursday morning. And the people that are serious, they'll get up at that hour. I'll be quite honest with you. The first time Paul threw it at me, I said, "You're nuts." And curiosity got me eventually, and I stopped in, and Jim gave me his warm welcome, and away we went.
Yeah, I will say and originally, we could have done a dinner meeting and I did try that, but so many times you're stuck at work, something happens, someone has, sports, your kids are involved, and I have kids and little ones, and in my own world, I was like, you know what? I want to do it in the morning. I want to do it at 6:15. We get everyone there. Some owners, might have to leave by 7:30. That's fine. There's a lot of information at the meeting, and it's like what Tom said. There's a lot of sharing, a lot of conversations. A lot of it gets put in the notes. A lot of it doesn't. So you kind of need to be there to learn and to hear. And then it's what you do with that information from that meeting to then where the conversations go. And one of the spin-offs, and it just happened yesterday, was one of the shop owners emailed about programming a 2002
Right.
Saturn.
Yep.
And in my email group, there's probably about 70 in the email group that I send out. And so I forwarded that to the group, and two people in the group responded and said, yeah, I can do that job. Here's my contact info. And probably happens each month. I'd say someone shoots something out that they're up against. And rather than calling down the shop down the street, here's an avenue that they shoot me an email. I send it out to the group with the contact info, and I just work as the liaison, contact Scott at this shop, and he'll have the job and for you, or
Right.
feedback, whatever.
And if that's
problem
not even,
solving.
that's just going through Paul directly. I mean, we've all transferred our personal information over, and so we might get text messages and calls during the day that we're helping shops all over the Western New York area or all over the country for the most
Yeah.
part. But for a local group, it's pretty cool that you can stop in and people know who you are, and they know what you do. And oh man, call this guy. He's got that tool to fix that, just like Paul said.
It's been my favorite time as far as, each month I look forward to the meetings. I look forward to planning them. I plan for the most part, try to take vacations when it's not going to interrupt the meeting. One of the
Yeah, we
things.
work around Paul.
Yeah, we work. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I always try to be consistent. So it's always the fourth Thursday of the month. It's always going to be at 6:15. Rarely does it ever stray from that unless it's a holiday. So we try to keep it consistent so people know when and where it's going to happen. And real quickly, side note, guys have gotten to know each other, not just in a business capacity, but as a friend. And there's been some powerful stories that have been shared in the group because it's gotten to that point. When my father passed away, one of the owners came through with a Jeep parade because he was a World War II vet. And a couple days before he passed away, we had a parade for his birthday. And I put that out to the group, and a couple of the owners came by with their Jeep organization, and Dad sat in the front window and watched it. So it's connections like that spin off from having a group like this. You get to get involved with each other and care about each other.
What Paul described in such a great way was, when you get to a meeting like this, there's no competitors. When you
Correct.
stop and think that, all these members of this group compete for the consumer, but there's so much business to go around. And
Well, nobody looks at it like that. Yeah, right.
no one, you're right. And that, to me, if we're speaking to you and you've always wanted to do this and you've got an idea and you share this podcast episode with people, you all have to understand, well, I'm not, they're my competitors. Then that person's probably not going to be in business over a longer haul than they would. We have to stop saying, I'm not going to share my secrets. They're my competitors, so I can't go. The proof is in the pudding. All around the country, associations, the suppliers groups, they're all working together to better themselves. And that's what the independent group here in Buffalo is all about. And we're making noise with education. And Paul, Jim, Tom, we're going next Thursday to one of the high school cooperative, where you go to a place where all the essential or skilled trades go, and they send all the high school kids there. And we're going to make some noise about the greatness that is going on in our industry, and to get the instructors and the principals to get more focused on the independent. It's a great move. I don't think it happens the minute you start your program, but you've got to look down the road and say, okay, what can this independent group do for each other, for the community, for the industry?
Well,
Yeah,
and I think
I would say if you do things right, it doesn't matter how close you are, because we have shops that are probably, you could walk from one shop to the other, but they're both at this meeting sharing ideas, realizing that, yeah, you know what, if Tom's shop is nicer, then that has to mean my shop is nicer. And one of the things I like to ask the group is, if a brand new shop opened across the street from you with all the latest technology, what would you do different? And of course, the answer is, well, don't wait for that. Why aren't you doing it now?
Right.
one of my best customers is directly across the street, and it's another shop, and they send me work on a daily basis. So just having that relationship, with another shop, not thinking of them as, they're the antichrist moving across the street from me. We're gonna cooperate. I do things differently than they do. They do things differently than I do, and we can work together. That's what the important part is. And, the whole education piece, getting involved with the schools, the BOCES centers, the colleges, we were able to do that as an organization because we're an organization of 12, 15 shops that are together talking as one voice. Where if we were just one shop walking in, they'd say, "Oh, yeah, it's nice to know you. See you later. Thank you." But when you go in with 12 shops and say, "Hey, look I have 12 potential employers for these kids coming out of a program," they listen. And so that's what we've done with the BOCES centers, with the internships, with I'm involved with Big Picture program. I get emails on a regular basis from all these people looking to place students. I want to get those students at 14. I have a 16-year-old that's been with me for, yeah, he's in his second year now. He just came up to me and asked this week if he could intern shadow through the summer, and the school is going to allow him to go through the entire summer in the Big Picture program. So I have him now this year through the summer, next year, and probably the following year. I'll have the kid 4 years before he moves on. So just having that program available came out of an organized group like this.
Yeah, there's kind of two sides to the group. One is the owners and talking about concerns and issues and such there. And the other side of the group is the organization of the group going to the schools and actively making our presence known as an independent, organized group of owners.
I love it, guys. If we don't build our bench, all right, you've heard this over and over again. It has never, ever been more important than right now. And, we've been talking about it, and we've got the grapes in the vat, but we don't have the wine yet. And I think we're at a point where we're getting ready to bottle the 2022 batch soon. And that is, we're making more noise. We're more present. We've never talked more on education. We've never had people listen to this independent group in the city, realizing that, yeah, the dealers, trust me, they need people as much as we do, but they're churning them in and out. If we get serious about the intimacy and career pathing and the training for these young people like Tom is doing, they may just stick around. And if they don't stick around at your place, but they stay inside the industry, or you don't have time to hire them full time, but a friend of yours in your independent group does, we're keeping them in the fold, in the independent fold. And as more shops become more successful, and the retention is better and the pay is better, I think the independent world is going to be on fire over the next 20 years.
I look at the future of iPass, and I have kind of a longer view of it, but I mean, there's potential of scholarships down the road. There's potential of training opportunities. There's small groups like this have grown into statewide organizations in other parts of the countries. Not saying that iPass will ever get there to that type of level, but just being able to have the foresight of doing things that can better the industry locally and promote it. I think it's a great thing to do for an organization.
And there's so many, like I said, there's probably 60 or so shops on the list and who have said, "Oh, I'm interested in the meeting," and maybe they don't come all the time, but they get all the notes and they're participating in the group. We'd love to have them in
Yeah.
person. We should have that room that we're in should standing room only.
Yeah, it should be. It should be SRO. Let me just bring up a point about Vision Jim. You had an opening, and you reached out to one of your friends who, in this particular group, we seem to finally sit in the same places every time we get there, right? And Marty just sits a couple of seats over from you, and just tell the story.
Well, after the meeting was over, again, it was a post-meeting conversation. Marty came up to Shelly and I and said, "Hey, I'm looking to get some training for, my service advisor, which is his son." And I said, "Well, actually, it might be a little short notice, but we're heading to Vision, and we might have a position for him if he wants to go. We'll take him with us." And so flopped that on him, and I said, "We need to know by tomorrow." And Marty's son is just newly had a child, so he kind of had some family twists he had to work through. But fortunate for him, his wife gave him the blessing, and he got some plane tickets. They worked it out, and off we went. And so we put him under our wing and took him to Vision with us. And Cody did all the Automotive Alley events and cool stuff that we were doing, and it was awesome. It was awesome. He learned a ton. We still communicate with Cody, and obviously we talk with Marty during the meeting. So yeah, those organic things happen, and again, it's the post meeting stuff.
That's the right word, Jim. It was organic. He was there at the right moment, the right time. He could have found service advisor training if he would searched or talked to other people, but because he was there, I think he was more inclined and easier to ask his peers in the group, "Hey, I need this. Can someone give me a recommendation?" And presto, you had an opening.
And I think one of the things I said to him during that was, "Well, if you're really serious, I have the perfect opportunity for you. So it's going to cost you, but I got the perfect opportunity," because it was last minute, you know what I mean? And it was awesome. Cody's like, "Wow, I'm looking forward to going next year." So
that wouldn't have happened had not Marty been coming to the meeting and met Jim. Like that wouldn't,
right.
Marty's shop is probably maybe 5 miles from your Marilla. I mean, I don't know, 5,
Right.
10. But again, how often do you ever talk to other owners? You don't,
and another,
not in that context anyways.
And another thing, Marty is new to the group. Like he's just
only a
started
couple of years
coming.
or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He started coming and always thought, "Wow, geez, it's going to be a business pitch. It's going to be a sales pitch." And, I talked to many guys that are shop owners, and they're like, "I'm not a public speaker." I go, "It has nothing to do with public speaking.
Right.
It's public absorption is what it is. You just sit there and absorb, sit there and, well, what do you talk about? Well, every week something different. And sometimes, as Paul goes with an agenda, boy, we spin out of control on that. We don't even get to the agenda.
Yeah, but you're the reason.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
No, but
Everybody knows what I mean. Everybody knows what I mean. So, but think about this, this 6:15, 6 o'clock in the morning thing. You'd say, "Oh, this is crazy." Listen, last meeting, go around the room. There had to be 25 in the room. You say there's a core of 15 people that show, but every once in a while, it flows up and down. And to stop and think, once COVID was over and we started to get back to visiting shops, it is so cool to have an owner come in. And a lot of the big coaching groups, a lot of the big networking groups, they'll fly in, spend a couple of days, critique a place. It's great. But to do it on a local basis,
right.
it's one of the greatest things that you could possibly do. I remember us being at your place, Jim, in Arcade.
Yeah, we've had owners. This past one, he drove from Rochester, which was about an hour and a half drive for him in the morning just to come to the meeting. That's powerful, and it's a fun interaction with everyone. What do you talk about, right? Like I said, I just have an agenda throughout the month, and something will come up, and I'll write it down. I'll be like, "Oh, that's a good topic. I'm going to do that." Because, I mean, there's a little pressure because I like to make sure that I'm bringing value to the group.
Carm, firsthand about that, trying to come up with topics. I mean,
yeah.
It's what I do.
It's an organic conversation that all of a sudden you're like, that right there is going to be the next podcast.
Oh,
right?
exactly.
And
yeah. Thank God you guys aren't charging me royalties or anything. Oh,
There you go. So, and I've had shopping. Oh, it's too early. It's this. It's that. Or it's it's a bunch of guys just talking about telling you how to run their business.
It's a
And
coffee
and I
clutch.
almost want to just grab them and shake them and tell them it's not. It's not like that. And I promise you, I would never let it become that. It'll never be that. We were all there on an even field, sharing information to make each other better, and that's what it's about.
Just for the fun of it, we need to add up the years of experience that are in the room. I mean, you've
ooh.
got shops that are,
Yeah.
I'm 38 years. We've got some shops that are more than me. And, we've got shops that come in that may be 1 or 2 years in the business just looking for information. And just the experience in the room is overpowering sometimes.
Well, guys, I have to tell you, I think we accomplished our goal to attempt to motivate other independents that are around the country who listen to this podcast, who want to come up with great ideas, to realize that we're not giving you ideas today about how to improve your business, but yes, we are. Because when you start talking to a bunch of people with a common goal of really just trying to serve a great market, hire great people, and make money, let's not, profit's not an ugly, dirty word. We all learning how to do that and do that in a more sophisticated, smarter way. It's just nice to be able to pick up the phone and call a friend and or bring an idea or a topic. So we all are here to encourage you. If anyone out there wants to talk to Jim, to Tom, or to Paul, please email me, carm@remarkableresults.biz. Listen to the podcast, look at our talking points, come up with an agenda. This really isn't hard to do.
Right.
You gotta stick with it when you think it's going to fail, because
You
back
need
in the
a
early,
Paul. You need a Paul.
yes, you do need a Paul. Yeah, you need a Paul. You need a time. But go back, Paul. I think in your original meetings, it was like maybe 8 people.
Right. Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
no,
don't.
it's growing. And I have notes going back years. Every
And
month,
Right.
the notes are saved as PDFs. Someone wants an idea or how to do
yeah,
things,
but
just
I don't
contact
think
me.
those 8 people are in this group today. Maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, some are. We've had some
Yeah,
transitions, some
yeah,
out for
yeah.
different various
No,
reasons.
I
And
get it. I get
yeah,
it. Please look at this as an evolving opportunity and involve the people that see the shops, the vendors, include the vendors in the meeting. Let them walk away with brilliance so they can go out and share it and says, hey, where are you getting this great stuff from? Because I believe, stand on a big box today, that the vendors don't sell products, they sell information. And a lot of the information that they need to sell is about the challenges that we have, the opportunities that we have to be better leaders, run better businesses. And that's what the independent professional group here in Buffalo is all about. IPASS, the Independent Professional Auto Service Group. Be involved in education, work together as a team, and eat omelets every 4th Thursday together. Make sure you have rye toast, stop the white, but that's what we have to do.
And provolone.
And make sure you have provolone in your omelet. It's a requirement. Jim requires that. Jim Fleischman, Automotive Alley Arcade, and Marilla, New York. Thanks so much, my friend Tom Sciortino from Total Automotive, and Paul Henderson, the CSR at NAPA, for being our IPASS facilitator. Thanks for all the great
thank you,
learning.
Carm.
Thanks, Carm.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.